Good evening and welcome to the WILE OpNet. This is Melanie AG4YL, Net Control of this evening's net. On the Echolink Alara conference node, be sure to invite all YLs you know to join us. We ask that only YLs or licensed young lady ham radio operators check in and participate. The purpose of this net is to encourage you to become and stay active with amateur radio, help each other improve our operating knowledge and skills, and have fun. For more ham fun between weekly nets, check out the WILE OpNet Facebook group. During the net, be sure to join us in the NFARL drop-in chat room by opening any web browser and going to nfarl.dodropin.org. Just put your name - call sign in the box and then click Login. YLs who would like to check in, please give us your call sign, name, and current location. And don't forget that there is a 3 to 4 second delay when transmitting through Echolink. This is Melanie AG4YL. We will now begin taking check-ins. Please call now.
KC9.
KJ9YL, Janine in Southern California.
W5MQC, Michelle in Oklahoma.
W7SKY, Sky in Gardner, Washington.
AB7PS, Sarah in Olympia, Washington.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, India Alpha Uniform, hiding from a toddler in Dallas, Texas.
AC4YL, Catherine, Marietta, Georgia.
KG5, UGI, Lara, trying to calm a baby in Fort Worth, Texas.
I'm 08BT, Jenny, over here in the UK. Good morning, ladies.
Okay, well, let's go with what we have so far. KC9's at HV Lauren from Illinois. KJ9NYL, Janine, California. W5MQC, Michelle, Oklahoma. K7SKY, Sky in Washington. AB7PS, Sarah from Washington. KF5IAU, Kathleen. Shouldn't say where you're from since you're still hiding from that toddler. Hi. Kathleen, you're from Texas. And AC4YL, Catherine from Georgia, KG5UGI, Lara, also from Texas, and M0HZT, Jenny from England. Let's go ahead and see if there's any more check-ins out there before we start the net. Please call now.
And to RJ, Rhea in New Jersey.
K4SAF, Carol in Kentucky.
Okay, well, we have N2RJ, Rhea from New Jersey, and Carol, K4SAF from Kentucky. I see there's a couple more out there that haven't hopped on yet. Let's see here. I do see that C8UFV has joined us. I don't believe we have you on there yet, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure you're in the log. And also, might be all that I see on Echolink now. After a while, everybody slides down to the bottom, so I can't see people that might have been on earlier. They get pushed down to the bottom. I do see that Margaret has also joined us this evening. So good evening to both Chrissy and Margaret. I do have you both in the log. And we can go ahead and kick off. Number one. Yes, that is cute. I guess we can go ahead and kick off on that. Catherine AC4YL said she wanted me to do this this topic this evening on a net, and I do it with a little bit of because I'm getting tired of hearing me and like to hear some more from Catherine. I certainly don't want to come on every night. It's like, oh gosh, there she is again this week. But you are stuck with me again this week. So, that being as it is, Catherine put a query up on our Facebook page, the WildUpNet Facebook page, asking what you all thought about the topic of Echolink, as there were a lot of new gals that have been joining us and will be joining us. And I'm going to pause for a quick reset. And everybody thought that, or a lot of you thought that it would be kind of a cool idea to do this. And some of you may be aware that Catherine and I go to Hamfests in the Southeast, and we do forums at a lot of these Hamfests. And one of the newer ones, one's on kind of YL history, is a little motivational about getting YLs involved in amateur radio, and the other is on Echolink. And we thought that that would be something that would be useful. It sort of started as a general operations YLs and ham radio, kind of a more of an operations, here's what you do to get on the air, get active, or different things with HF and with repeaters and with Echolink. Well, the Echolink portion just really, no one's doing it and doing anything on it. And that really generated the most interest, the most questions, most people raising their hands and all this other kind of stuff. So, we eventually just designed a forum just on Echolink, and it's still pretty new. I think we've only done it a couple of times just specifically on Echolink, but hopefully it seems to be something that a lot of people are interested in. What makes Echolink, I think, kind of a topic that garners so much interest is because there's a lot of questions about it. Is it really ham radio? It's VoIP. It's Voice over Internet Protocol. Is this really ham radio? Is it radio in the sense that we use RF or radio frequencies to communicate? No, it is not. It's Voice over Internet Protocol. However, it does connect a lot of people through repeaters that are Echolink enabled. A lot of those repeaters are linked, and there are also reflectors that link a bunch of repeaters. And I will pause for a reset. Now, note that just that one action that I'm doing when I'm pausing, I'm actually not just pausing and coming right back. There's actually, you hear repeater tone. The NF4GA repeater is one of a few repeaters that are connected up with us. And the reason why we pause and we wait for that repeater tone is because now the repeater is also resetting. If I break my connection and come back too quickly, that repeater does not disconnect entirely. I do not completely open that repeater, or I should say close that repeater from connecting, and I will time out the repeater if my pause is too short. And we'll get a little bit more into timing and all that other kind of stuff, but keep in mind that you do want to wait for repeater cycles so that you know they are closing, and then you can reopen again and continue to transmit. Also, you must be a licensed ham radio operator to use Echolink. So, is it ham radio? It is ham radio. It's just not radio in the sense of the word, but it does connect amateur radio operators throughout the world. And this is the magic of using something like Echolink. When I was first licensed, I did not have radios or didn't know really anything about it. I didn't have an HT, didn't have any stuff, and besides, as some of you may know from my history, I didn't even know if I wanted to be a ham. I got a license just so I could get on Echolink and get on this net. That's why I did it. So, do I think it's important? Yes. I'm here and a ham radio operator because of Echolink. And what else? People ask, well, why would I want to use it? And I'm going to pause again here and reset. So there are some that want to know why you would even want to use Echolink. It's voice over internet protocol. Why not just use a radio? A lot of the gals that are on this net are we communicate. We can have forums, nets, questions and answers, news, everything else over Echolink. It would be very hard to put this kind of gathering together over the propagation conditions, the time of day, the way the ionosphere is at that particular time you're transmitting or trying to receive and hear. There are a lot of reasons this net would not be possible in its scope were it not for Echolink. So it is very useful. Also, there are radio operators out there that are new, like I was, that just really want to find out about amateur radio, they don't want to make an investment, or they can't afford to make an investment, if you have a simple headset and a computer, you're good to go. Now you can use Echolink on iOS devices and Android devices, and that is something we'll get into a little bit more here as we go on through. But to start out with the basics here, we're going to be referring to Echolink as you would download it onto a home computer, whether that is a Mac or a PC. Either way, it's pretty simple. Echolink it's old. It's been around for several years and has not changed very much at all. So it's not going to. It's not going to get updated. You don't have to worry about updates. There's just not going to be a lot of updates to this. It's older. You know, it's kind of like the wheel. It works. So there hasn't been a lot of updates or changes to it over the years. And again, I will pause for a reset. Now, a couple of really good resources is Catherine put up some links up there. The official Echolink site is echolink.org, and there's all kinds of really interesting things on there about Echolink and about how it works and VoIP and how it got started. There's a user's guide PDF file that's on echolink.org/downloads, so you can get that one as well. And you also have a couple of outside resources. One of a really cool one. I like it a lot. I picked it up, and some of the reference will be taken from this book. It's a nifty guide. Some of you may have heard of nifty guides, nifty ham accessories and nifty guides. They're at niftyaccessories.com, and you can pick it up at any candy store, pretty much you'll see these at any ham fest as well. They're blue, kind of small books. I guess they're about maybe 5 by 8 paperback books. And 5.5 by 8.5 actually. And this particular one is called A Nifty Easy Guide to Echolink Operation by Bernie Lefreniere, N6FN. And I think this was done back in 2013, but again, it doesn't really change. There are 2 parts to this book, and he'll explain this at the beginning of the book, kind of how these parts work. If you are looking to use Echolink and just enjoy it for your own use, to get on like we're doing it, you can just read the first chapters 1 through 5. If you're interested in establishing your own RF-based simplex repeater nodes, that's covered in 6 through 12. We'll break for a reset. And this Nifty Easy Guide is one of the only ones out there that really covers Echolink. Now there's a Yahoo group which I checked out. It's whatever. Yahoo groups kind of come and go, and they pop up and they're real strong for a little while, and then they go back down again. I like the book, and I like to pick up the information I can from echolink.org. I think those are really neat and fun to use. There's also information on echolink.org under the frequently asked questions for iPhones, well, basically iOS, and for Android. Catherine has informed me that Ria into our J is very familiar with Echolink for iOS, and that Chrissy, KC8UFV, is familiar with Echolink for Android, and that both of them would be willing to help anyone that has some more portable questions, and I'll be glad to pass the mic over to both of you ladies a little bit later on in this net to cover that. But to the basics, if you're here and you're listening to me, chances are, I don't know how many might be connecting through a repeater through RF, but chances are you already have Echolink. You have gotten your call sign verified, and you've downloaded the program. And I notice now you register everything and get the program downloaded and ready to go while you're waiting for verification. And I did. I was so excited. I had to have Echolink. They changed it now. You actually have to enter a call sign, but you didn't used to have to do that. I downloaded on my computer before I had even taken my test. I was that excited about it. And I'll pause for a reset. Okay, so the repeaters are going to chat to each other there for a little bit. Now, there is a lot of information out there on IRLP and what is it and how did the project start. And the Nifty Easy Guide actually gives you a really good synopsis and the history about it. Everything you ever wanted or didn't want to know about internet linking and the Echolink system. And it's I'm not going to go into that, of course, here and now, but there's a couple of things that are interesting to know. Is that you can access Echolink through the node through our Echolink repeater. That can get a little complicated. We're going to keep it really, really simple. We're going to stay on the user side, okay? People that already have it downloaded on their computer, and then we'll go into the mobile devices, like Android and iOS. But I do encourage you to pick up the book and have a little fun. It's really kind of neat. You're going to see some node types when you go into Echolink. And node types, it's simply a way of categorizing the different types of stations that you can access on Echolink. There's going to be individual users on computers or mobile devices, and they're just going to be identified by a call sign. And then you have your RF simplex links, and you can make your own link. And I encourage you, again, pick up the Nifty Easy Guide. You want to do that, tell you all how to make your own link and set that up. It's a lot of fun. But you can do your own simplex link, and that will be identified by a call sign with a dash and an L standing for link. And then there are repeaters, which are call sign, the call sign of the repeater, -R, or you can set up your own repeater. And then there's conference servers, like we're on. I'll pause for a reset. Now, sometimes these conference servers are identified by a call sign, but more often than not, they're identified by a name with an asterisk on either side, such as Alara, or Dewdrop In, or Highgate, or World, just to name a few. And of course you have others that are call signs. I've got one that is called KB4SVP, and it's Our Coffee Shop. Then they have a little descriptor after it, like ALARA, then I'd have a description, Australian Ladies Conference. So the nodes doesn't really matter to understand all of them. Again, just so you know what those symbols mean up there when you see them. And you're mostly going to use, under your node types, you're mostly going to use your conferences. And you're going to use a node type called people. People are users, I should say. Users. Users are your individuals. And it will have individual call signs. And you can go under node types. You can click on users. And you'll see everybody who is registered with Echolink. And it's in numerical and then alphabetical order by call sign. And you can actually go through this list. For instance, I can, just because she's at the top of the list here, there's AC4YL. It says Atlanta, Georgia. Now, AC4YL is our very own Catherine, who is on with us here and looking at her call sign under users. And you all can do this if you have your Echolink up where you can look at it. You can click under node types on the little menu. Click under node types and go to users. And you'll see a bunch of call signs. And if you just scroll down, you'll see all these different numbers, and you'll see Catherine, AC4YL's call sign up there. And it's in blue. A lot of them are in black. I'll pause for reset. So what the blue, when you see a call sign that's in blue, that means it is busy. And that also means a couple things to those who are familiar. Not only is Catherine's call sign busy, meaning I can't connect with her because she is busy. She also doesn't have conferencing enabled on her end, or she's exceeded how many nodes she's going to allow. So that brings us into what is conferencing. Well, we're on a conference. What's the difference? There's conference nodes, like ALARA, and then there's the ability to do conferencing, which is kind of like doing a conference call. Some of you may remember conference calls. We used to do those back in the day. You'd be in an office and you'd do a code on the phone, and it would enable you to talk to 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Now it's all done over the internet, similar to what we're doing here. Although it is full duplex, meaning everybody can talk to everybody and talk back and forth at the same time. But conference calls used to be done just on the telephone networks, and you actually would be able to talk back and forth full duplex with a bunch of people on a conference call. Well, we can kind of do something like that here with Echolink. And computer, up in the top of your Echolink there, you'll have some symbols and maybe some names depending on how you customized your menu. There's a bunch of symbols going across the top, and you can, of course, use those. I also have my little names that says File, Edit, Station Tools, View, and Help. I learned about Echolink. I did the Echolink.org site, but I like to push buttons and see what they do. And I like to look at menus and see what there is. And then I like to look inside those menus and see all the different stuff. I may not know what it all means, but I do explore. You're not going to break anything by looking at it and exploring it. You can always hit cancel. There's a word. There's a reason that word is there. You can get out of it, okay? Let me pause for a reset. Okay, so one of the most important things you're going to use in Echolink is going to fall under the Tools menu, and that's going to be the most important thing under the Tools menu is Setup. And Setup is also the little shortcut picture that's a hammer and a wrench. It's setup. And if you click on setup, you're going to see a couple things there. You're going to see your system setup. You're going to see your station, what kind of mode you're using, and when you set up your station, you pretty much got all this already put in there, so it's fine. It also has a little thing there. It says change call sign. When you get a call sign changed for whatever reason, you maybe upgrade your license and you want to get the next systematic call sign for that license type. Like if you upgrade to an amateur extra and you want a 2x2, or if you get a vanity call, or you just don't like the one you have and want to do you can do a systematic call change. You don't have to take a test or do licensing. You can just go to your VEC and say you want the next systematically assigned call sign, and it's kind of like just throwing your hat into the ring and seeing what happens. But if you change your call sign, you're going to go into that system setup and you're going to see the first tab says My Station, and you're going to click on Change Call Sign and just follow the instructions. And I've changed mine twice. Of course, I had my original one when I got my passed my tech and my general, got my first call sign, and then when I upgraded to extra, I went ahead and took the next systematic because I just wanted to see what I was going to get, and then I got the Vanity AG4YL. So I've changed my call sign in Echolink, and it's painless. It's so easy, not hard thing at all. Then there's another tab on there that says servers. Don't worry about it. You don't need to know it. It doesn't matter. And you don't need to automatically dial the connection unless you're just on dial-up. Echolink was designed with dial-up in mind. And when I started using it, I too was on dial-up. Works very well. Pause for reset. Okay, and then you're going to see proxy. Proxy is good if you're on a Wi-Fi. Like if you're out at a Starbucks or in a hotel room, you're traveling, you're going to want to use a public proxy. And it's really easy. Refresh a list, select a proxy, and see if you can connect. You either will or you won't. If you can't get a connection, then that means that you need to go back in there and pick another proxy. That just allows you to connect. When you are on a hotspot, if you do a hotspot on your phone, say you're out somewhere, and I used to do this, put up the Wi-Fi hotspot up on my cell phone and then connect, you have to connect to a proxy. Hotspots, hotel Wi-Fi, Starbucks, all this is not designed for, basically for what Echolink does, which is a two-way conversation. It's designed to download information from the internet. So you have to go through a proxy so that you can get a connection going up and down, an uplink and a downlink, and that you'll be able to actually use Echolink. Otherwise, you just won't be able to connect. If you have more questions on proxies, it's on ecolink.org, and of course post it. We'll try to help you out here. Catherine's monitoring the chats, so she can jump in here and help you all out and keep everybody rolling through this. But I don't want to spend too much time on any one thing, as it's too much information. You can get really just TMI on this, and you don't really need to know. It's not that important. Just know that if you're on a hotspot, go to your system setup, the little hammer and wrench, and go to proxy and just choose a public proxy. Hit the refresh list. Pick one. Try to pick one in the U.S. It's just easier. And scroll down your little list and then just hit OK and just try it. It'll connect to the internet or it won't. If it doesn't, go back and pick another one. It can't hurt anything or break anything, and it's not a big deal. Okay? Let me pause for a reset. Okay, now we come to the most important tab in Echolink. This is the one that is so very important, and the reason why you hear me pausing because of how I have my timing set. This next tab on your system setup is timing. And there are two things that are very, very important in timing. Connect attempt, just leave it alone. It defaults to 10 seconds, that's fine, just leave it. That's the first thing that you'll see there. The last thing on the list is receive hang time. It defaults to 1200 milliseconds, just leave it alone, it's just fine there. Inactivity timeout. This is if you're, don't want to forget that you're connected up to Echolink. So when you're done playing Echolink, playing radio on Echolink, you can set a timeout. So if nothing's going on your connection, it will eventually disconnect you. I probably should put that on because I do forget that my Echolink is connected. And if you're connected to Echolink and you're not busy, anybody can talk to you from anywhere in the world. They can click on your, and they'll troll and look for that. Not in a malicious way, just to connect with another. It's like calling CQ, only they see you and they click on you and see if you want to have a QSO. So inactivity timeout, that's what that does, is you can set it for so many seconds, and if there's no transmit or receive going on in Echolink, it will go ahead and disconnect your Echolink for you. It's kind of cool. Then there's receive time limit. For some reason, this always defaults to a number. I don't know why. Your receive time is 0. Because what's going to happen is you're sitting here listening to this net, and then you don't hear anything anymore. The audio's just gone because you've timed it out. You've timed out your receive time. Because for some reason, just put under receive time limit, just put 0 in there, okay? We'll pause for a reset. Again, if you happen to just be sitting listening to a net or something, and after, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, Echolink just for some reason, you stop receiving, and you really think there should be something going on there, just go into your system setup, the little hammer and wrench, or go up into Tools, into System Setup, and go to Timing, and make sure your receive time limit is 0. Unless you just, want it to cut off, but it should be set to default to 0. And why it isn't, I don't know. All right, so we've talked about 4 of the 5 things you see on your timing page. Connect attempt, leave it alone, it defaults to 10. Your receive time limit, you should set that to 0. Your inactivity timeout, that's up to you. I have mine set to 0, I just never played with it. Just defaulted there and I left it alone. Receive hang time, it defaults to 20 milliseconds, I just leave it there. And then there's one that I haven't yet talked about. That is your transmit time limit. It's the second one on the list. This is the single most important number you can put up in here. Now, you may have noticed I paused for a reset at regular times. It's because if you put a on here, it will warn you when you get 20 minutes away, or 20 seconds away from that goal. You should set your Echolink transmit time limit at 150 seconds. Some of you may be asking, why 150? That doesn't make any sense. Repeaters are set to time at 1.5 minutes, usually. They're set to time out at usually 170 or 180. Echolink equipped repeaters, of which we would be connected to, also have an Echolink timeout set just like this. And this Echolink timeout set on theirs is usually set for 150 to 160. So by setting to 150, I have a margin of error in there. Okay? And let me reset. So what happens if you don't have your transmit time limit set right? Most of these things default to something ridiculous, like really crazy long, like 10 minutes or something. So what happens? Well, if the repeater has its Echolink timing set up correctly, it will simply stop receiving anything from you or retransmitting anything from you through their Echolink node. It will simply stop. And it doesn't do anything except stop Echolink on their end, on their repeater. And if that is not set, you will time out the repeater. You really don't want to time out the repeater. Repeaters have a maximum transmit time, and they do this for a reason. They're usually pretty high power, and they get hot, continuous transmit, because what they're doing is part of the repeater is receiving, and then the other part of the repeater is retransmitting. It's repeating what it hears. So it's using a lot of power, and it's getting very warm up in there. And if there is a key down event that's unexpected, such as, I don't know, cat walking across the keyboard. We have a member here that knows how that works, right? I understand this one too. Anytime you hit a transmit button for whatever reason, it could happen accidentally. You have your mobile in your car, and the hand mic, the fist mic, falls, gets wedged between the seat or something, and that button gets pushed, and you have it tuned to the repeater. Guess what? You're gonna keep that repeater, and you will time it out. So it's a repeater protection. It's not intended to make anybody angry or limit their time. It's a repeater protection limit. Does it help control the amount of egg chewing? Yes. Let me reset. But that is just a side effect. What it really does is protects the equipment and keeps the equipment up and active for emergencies. And repeaters, of course, are known for emergencies, emergency ARIES work, emergency connections, accidents on the road, anything like that. They can keep on the repeater. So this is also another reason for breaking and resetting and waiting to repeater sets. So I'm also giving an opportunity for somebody to break in on these repeaters that are connected to this conference node and be able to report an emergency or some event or a weather event or something. So there's a few reasons why you want to be courteous and understand that you are often on these conferences you're linked up to repeaters. So be courteous, don't time things out, set your timing, be safe, put a margin of error in there and set it to 150 seconds or less. It's up to you. And then what you'll hear is a little tone. If you have your speakers on, other people will hear it. I use headphones, so I just hear it in my headphones. You don't hear it, but it's a little. There's a little sound that it makes, and then you look over at your screen and it counts down. And if you don't stop, it will stop transmitting, and it will just plain cut you off. And I've done that, and I'd rather have Echolink cut me off than for me to hurt a repeater. Okay, so that takes care of timing on your system setup tab. And then there is audio. Audio can get a little complicated because everybody has different audio systems in their computers. It will usually find your input device and your output device, and Then you have mic type. Let me reset. So mic type. Just unless you have a Heil or some other style, it looks like a pill. I call it a capsule or pill. Unless you have a Heil or a really, really fancy mic, just put it on general purpose mic. It's just roll with it. Put it on general purpose mic. Now you can experiment, and I'll tell you how to experiment and listen to this in a moment. This is it can be fun. Then you'll see open and full duplex. Don't worry about it. Auto sample rate compensation. Don't worry about it. Just leave those boxes unchecked. The 300 hertz transmit high pass filter. You can play with that one. It's kind of interesting, okay? Sound card tuning, just leave it alone. And you can do a recording in Echolink, and it'll say recording mode. And you can set this to record, by the call sign or record by the QSO or do all that stuff. You don't really need to know that. There's other ways for you to do that. You can open up a folder there and set a file that you want to record to. Don't worry about that right now. What we want to do is the mic type and the high pass filter checkbox. Those are the two things that you can play around with and check and see what you think about those. Then you have performance is the next tab in here. Your performance, and feel free to hit the little help button down here on the bottom of this box too. It'll tell you what these things mean on each of these tabs. Performance, network buffering, PC buffering, usually just leave them on the defaults. Don't worry about it too much. You shouldn't really need to set those at all. But audio is kind of a fun tab. You can have some fun with audio, and it is important when you get a new mic or a new system to check your audio and set that up. And I'm going to tell you how to do that after I pause for a reset. So one of the things that you will see on your conferences under the node types, under conferences, if you'll grab hold of that bar on the right and pull down, you'll see one called Echo Test. That's E-C-H-O-T-E-S-T, Echo Test. It's a conference, and that is an audio test server. Okay, and all that does is play back whatever you transmit to it. So, and of course we can't demonstrate that right now because we're on this conference, but I'll give you an example. Catherine uses this a lot. I used it the first couple times when I was setting up my mic, and then I just leave it alone. I don't do anything. I watch the bar. When you're on a computer and you're transmitting, it says TX, and then you see a blue bar. And in front of that blue bar, you're pushing along a little red line. Now, you don't want that red line to be slamming into the right-hand side of that that little window. And you don't want a lot of yellow at the end of that blue bar, between the moving bar and the red line there that's moving. You don't want a lot of yellow. That yellow is a lot of overdrive. It's a lot of sibilance. It's not good sounding audio. So if you see a lot of yellow coloring in there, you want to play around with some of your audio settings. And what you'll do is you'll go in and play with their settings, and then you're going to go to Echo Test, and you're going to either double click on Echo Test or hit the little connection, the thing that looks like a figure 8, the little chain up there at the top left of the window. You'll click on that and connect, just like you connect in here. And you're going to transmit whatever you want. Your call sign, your name, this is, Mary had a little lamb, doesn't matter. And then when you key up, it'll play it back for you. So that is how you test your audio. If it sounds bad on playback, it probably sounds bad to everybody else too. And it's a little unnerving at first to hear what you sound like on Echolink. And obviously it's going to depend on the quality of your speakers or your headset as it comes back to you. But it'll give you an idea if it's over. What you're listening for is really bad quality, really oversaturation, really bad sibilance, background noise, a lot of hissing, and play around with some of your things that are under setup and under audio. Now, let's just say you just need to do some level changes to your audio, just a little bit of level changes. You've already decided you want to use the general purpose mic or the other mic, or you want to use the high pass filter, or you don't want to use the filter. And we're done with system setup. Now you go over to your tools menu again, and you're going to come down to an entry that says adjust sound device, playback, recording. It's probably going to be the same sound device. Just click on playback and adjust your sound device. And you can adjust your volume levels. If you have a fancy card or something like that, you can adjust your EQ and do all that kind of thing to it, and high pass filters on your own computer sound device. That will access that menu for you. And then if you go on down that tools menu, it has a thing that says start recording. You can record this net. And you can just hit the start recording, and it will start recording, which is kind of fun and interesting, right? It's kind of neat. So you can record what's going on as long as you have a file big enough to hold it. And enough storage, you're good to go. Let me pause. We've kind of covered the setup part of the tools menu, and we've talked a little bit about adjusting your sound device and using Echo Test Conference for testing your sound. That's all it does. Nobody hears it. Nobody else can connect to it. You just click on it, transmit, and then key up, and then it'll play it back for you. It's pretty simple. And how to adjust your sound device. Now, on that same tools menu, there is another really important little tab, and it's called Preferences. And this is also on the top of your Echolink computer screen, and it has, it looks like 3 little index cards stacked. It's right next to the hammer and wrench. 3 little index cards stacked. Preferences. The first tab you see is List. Usually the defaults are just fine. Update station list automatically, update every 300 seconds. You can change that. Even while connected, you can click on that. I used to keep this pretty slim because, as I said before, I used to connect on dial-up. Echolink is very lightweight though. I connected on dial-up and used conferencing with 2 other stations and had no problem on dial-up. This is a very lightweight. This was designed for dial-up. This is what it does really well. And so it's very light on system resources. Show and index, review your repeaters, your links, your user guide. Yeah, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's pretty easy to understand your preferences on the list. Then you come to the tab that says Connections. This is really fun. Lots and lots of fun here on the Connections list. And this is got a lot of good stuff in there. Let me pause. Okay, so Connections. Important tab under your Preferences, under your Tools menu. Conferencing. It says Allow Conferences. There's a little checkbox there. Remember I was talking before about doing a conference call and how you can connect a bunch of people to you? Sometimes during this net, some of you gals have a hard time connecting to the Echolink conference. For whatever reason, we don't know. Echolink does have gremlins, okay? It's ham radio. If it were easy, everyone would do it. So you'll hear or see me chat back and forth, and sometimes over in Do Drop In, or Catherine will chat back and forth going, I've got conferencing connect direct to me. Okay? Now, that means I've got my little checkbox that says Allow Conferences checked. I usually keep it to the default of limiting to 2 other stations, and I just let that go and let the defaults just sit there. Okay? And then somebody on the other end that's having a hard time connecting to Alara for whatever reason can go to the node types, to users. Remember we talked about the different node types. There's conferences, links, repeaters, and users. And you go to the users, and you find my call sign, AG4YL, and now it's no longer blue saying I'm busy. Now it's in black. And you double-click on me, and you're going to connect direct to me. And because I am connected to the Alara conference, and I've allowed other people to connect to me, they are vicariously connected to the Alara conference. Does this make sense to everybody out there? If I'm connected up to Alara and I'm allowing conferencing for others to come in and connect up to me, they can just go straight to my call sign in Echolink and click on me, and now they're looped into the Alara conference with me. So I can bring them in that way. Sometimes it's just easier to connect to a person. Let me pause. So I hope this is fun and kind of interesting and not leaving too many people behind here. It can be a little dry, but I think going through these menus, and I hope those of you that are connected to a computer are looking at these menus with me. You can do this while we're talking, just like I'm doing. I'm actually pulling these menus up and looking at them while I'm transmitting with you. Then below the little conferencing thing, it says location/description. You can have it show different things when you're free. Next, on the description, the location description thing, that's when you pull up a station or your conferences or your links or your repeaters or your users. It says station, and then next to it says location description. This is how you choose what you want it to say. And there's one that says free and one that says busy. So I can change my busy, and I probably wouldn't be a bad idea when I'm busy to say that I am on the YL OpNet Alara conference, to say where I am, because usually when I'm on Echolink anymore, if I'm busy, that's where I am. And I'm often not busy because I usually allow conferences. But you can put anything you want there to show as your location description. And you can choose whether or not you want to show the name of the connected conference or not. Okay? Now, there's a button on here. It says PTT Control. This is the coolest button ever. I love this button. PTT Control is so neat. If you click on that, it'll open up a little sub-window. And it says, choose any of the following methods to control TX. Okay? Now, by default, Echolink defaults to the space bar. And if you're like me, after a while, the space bar just stops working. We don't know why. It just does. It's Echolink. It's the gremlins. The space bar no longer works to transmit, or you have to restart things. Let me pause. And it is also not convenient if you type in the chat and you use the space bar. You can be transmitting. So I select a keyboard key, and I myself select my left control key. Because usually if I use control, I'll use my right key. If you do control alt delete to bring up menus and you use the left combination, then select a different key. They got a whole list here. You can use the right control key. You can use your number pad plus or your number pad enter. Whatever works for you. Once you get used to it, this is the coolest thing ever, okay? Put a sticky note if you have to up on your screen or on the computer or something to remind you until you get used to this. But pick a keyboard key and use that instead of the space bar. Then next to that, there's two other little check boxes. One says momentary, the other says system-wide. Two really cool check boxes, okay? The momentary box means that when you push down on whatever key you decide to use, space bar, control, whatever, you're going to push it down to transmit and you're going to release it to stop transmitting. That's momentary. It works just like the switch on a fist mic, on a mobile mic. Your switch that you use with your thumb or your finger on your mobile mic, you push it in to talk, you release it to stop transmitting. That's what momentary means, okay? So if you just want it to come on for a minute while you're transmitting, and then when you let go of the key, yeah, that doesn't work for me, okay? I talk with my hands. I want to push that transmit key, and then I want to roll. I'm on the computer, I'm chatting, I'm typing, I'm doing stuff here, I'm looking to the books, I'm writing on pieces of paper, I got my hands waving in the air. Momentary doesn't work for a girl like me while I'm transmitting because I talk with my hands, okay? So I don't have it checked. It is whatever you like. Just remember, let me pause. Just remember, be wise and have your, oh, good night, Alita. I see you saying gotta run. Good night. Yeah, your hand is getting tired because you're holding it down, and you make sure that you have your timing set. Thank you. And that's what I was just getting ready to get into, Catherine. You gotta make sure that you do what I said before. Set your timeout limit so that you won't just get to going and rolling without your finger on that keyboard and take some repeaters down, okay? So, momentary, I don't have mine checked because I want to hit my transmit key, and then it's kind of like having a lock key on there, and then I want to hit it again to stop transmitting. So I tap it to transmit, and I tap it again to end transmit. Then, you see the little checkbox below momentary? It says system-wide. Okay, so I didn't know what system-wide meant. Well, I knew what it meant. I didn't know what it meant here in this case. And I got this out of the Nifty Easy Guide to Echolink. Something so simple. I never looked into it. I guess I don't know why. I thought I knew every little menu item on Echolink, and I didn't until I read this book. And I said, system-wide. So here's what system-wide means. And this is why it's important that you select the right key to transmit on. system-wide means that while I'm talking to you all, I can go over to another page. I can go on to my, I can be over on the NARFL chat. I can be looking up a link for you, and I can start and stop transmitting while I'm over on another page. If it's not on system-wide, you have to be focused. Your screen needs to be focused on the Echolink program, or your transmit key will not work. So you have to be focused on Echolink to start or stop transmitting. You can start transmitting, then go over to somewhere else. You hear your timeout tone. You're trying to hit that key, and it's not stopping because you don't have it on system-wide. So system-wide is so cool. You don't have to have the focus on the Echolink screen. I'll pause for reset. This is also really nifty. You know, if you want to just run Echolink in the background and you don't really need to see that, and you'd want to do all your be able to transmit without. Oh, let me grab the mouse. And wait, where's the Echolink window? Let me pull that up. Okay, now I can transmit. Yeah, system-wide is awesome. Don't worry about the serial port. Don't worry about the middle mouse button. A little more advanced. Don't really need those right now. What's the most important thing in the push-to-talk settings, the PTT settings, are pick a keyboard key other than that space key. Pick something that you're not going to really use while you're on Echolink. You can choose whether you want it to be momentary or not. And system-wide, it's wonderful. Really use system-wide. You can be anywhere on your computer and any screen. You don't have to be focused on the Echolink program to start and stop your transmitting. Okay? See, I told you this was a really cool screen. You're going to like this. All right, so that is a sub-tab of your Connections tab. Was it checked? Oh, yeah. Okay, you guys are... actually, Catherine is talking some people through, so I'm just going to let her roll with that, okay? Underneath the PTT control button is the station information file. This is kind of fun. You can actually choose what you want to write into that file. I have info.txt, and that is what shows what I want to show when people are connected to me. And it's my station information file. And you can get station information by going up to the top there, and you see the little hand with the, looks like a hand pointing at an index card up there. That's, is that the station information, or is that the refresh? Okay, let me close out of this and let me mouse over it and see. Yeah, that's info. That's right. Okay, cool. Let's see, what else is in here under my connections? Oh, show alert when doubling. That's kind of cool too. So show alert when doubling. Check that. That means that if you're doubling with somebody, it will pop alert into the chat for you. So that's good to have checked off here when we're having a net, so that you know if you're doubling on top of somebody, okay? So make sure that you have that checked off. That's pretty important when you're on a net and you're doing any kind of a net on Echolink or multiple connections on Echolink. Okay? The next tab is security. So if you have an Echolink stalker, you can actually block them. And you can choose where you want to accept connections from, or you can accept only certain calls. The important one, though, is the one that says deny these calls. There's a little radio button there. I have a call in there, which is actually not even pertinent anymore, but there's a call in there of somebody I never wanted to connect with me, especially if I'm on this net and I have conferencing enabled. I did not want to get a connection from this person. So I clicked that radio button and I said add new, and I typed the call sign in there and added it to the block list. That call sign can never connect with my station, ever, until I take it off of there. Neat, right? You can also accept or deny certain international prefixes. You can choose what countries you want to accept or deny, okay? And you can apply those security settings to inbound connection, request outbound connection attempts, both or none, okay? So the security is kind of neat if you're ever worried, oh my gosh, I'm on Echolink, the whole world can see me, anybody can connect to me, what do I do? You can block. It's kind of like blocking somebody on your phone, okay? Do not call, whatever. You can just put them on this list and they can't connect with you. Pause for reset. So if you have either just somebody that you don't want to connect with for whatever reason, it doesn't have to mean that they're a bad person, you just don't want to connect with them, just put them on there, and it won't allow a connection. You can attempt all day, it won't allow you to connect with them, or them to connect with you. Okay? So pretty cool. Security can be a good thing in there, and they really thought of everything. Echolink is a really amazing program. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Then the last tab on your preferences is your signals. You can get custom signals if you want, and you can choose to have none. Basically, the connected, the disconnected, and the alarm, I use default signals. I can also go pick any old WAV file I want to. I can record something that says connected and then hit custom and it'll have me saying connected, whatever. I did make sure that I disable, I have none for over, for text message, and for end text, or end transmission, excuse me, NTX. The text messaging. The last three is really just pick none. It's really the optimal settings for you, ladies. Just pick none for over, none for end transmission, and particularly none for text messaging. You may have heard Catherine and myself mention in the past, if you've been with us for any length of time, about turning off your signal for text messaging. Have you ever heard somebody transmit on Echolink, and in the background you hear beep, you hear this tone, beep, it's like a bong going on in there, and it corresponds every time a text pops up in the text box, doesn't it? They've got their little signal on for a text message. It's letting them know a text message has come through, and everybody else right out of their speaker, right into their microphone in the background. Okay? So, yeah, turn off that signal, put it to none. Let me pause for reset. So that's what that sound is. It's telling you there's text message. And if somebody's really excited about what they're saying, you can tell they love what they're saying, because in the background there's like bong, bong, bong. Yeah, that text message signal's just going off like crazy because people are just commenting all over the place. Wonderful, they like what you're saying. We're all hearing that. It's coming out over your microphone. So just, you know, watch your screen. You really, you don't need to have that signal on, and it is distracting when all you hear is that sound coming over. So please select none, unless you're wearing a headset and it doesn't come out. Then it's fine. You don't have to worry about it. But I find it distracting to me on my end when I hear it come over. So I have it turned off anyway. It's nutty. But that's what that is. When you hear that tone, please turn off your text message signal. Okay? Awesome. And guess what? That's our preferences. There's only a couple of other things up here at the top that's really kind of neat. the up at the top of your or your little icons up there, you see the hand. There's a hand just stuck straight up there, with its thumb out, fingers extended. Hand. Okay. Mouse over it. It says list me as busy. Okay. So if you want to keep Echolink up, let's say you're getting ready for this net. Okay. And your Echolink is on, but you're not connected to Alara yet, or you're between nets. So you're not connected to anybody. Remember I told you about when you go to your node types, you have your conferences, your links, your repeaters, and your users. If you look at your users, and you can go there and look at them, if you go to your users, you'll see some are in blue, and some of them are just in regular black print. The blue print are busy. Now, that means they're either connected to a conference, a user, a link, or a repeater without their conferencing enabled, or they've simply clicked that little hand up there to list them as busy. Pause for a reset. That will keep anyone from connecting to you. Your call sign will appear in blue, and no one will be able to connect with you. It will list you as busy. And you can still, of course, connect to, oh, it's time for the net. Let me go ahead and click on the Alara conference and get on the net. Go ahead, click on the conference and get on the net. And that little busy signal will be moot, because you really will be busy. You'll be connected to the net. And again, if you go in and you allow conferencing, other people will be able to connect to you if you go in and allow conferencing. So I know Catherine's been really typing and keeping everybody to have some fun here. I would I would use something from hell. I love it. I'm sorry, I cannot do that, Dave. That's lovely. Okay. I love this. This is why I cannot watch the chat while I'm doing this this net. I think that's really most of the things. Just push buttons. Oh, and also at the top there, you see the little green triangle that's pointed to the right, that little play, and then there's a little red dot, and that's record. See, those are quick and easy little things. I hope you have that enabled in your menu items to list there when you customize your menu, or you have it defaulted to that. I leave all my little icons up because I like them, and I like all my little files, having my menu buttons up there, my file edit, station tools, view help. I just leave all that stuff up there. I don't know what print does. I don't know what exactly you're printing. Maybe you're printing, maybe you can print a file. Maybe you can print a list. I don't know. I've never played with that one. But anyway, now it is time to bring in, put the chat, right? Maybe. Let me pause. All right. I know CJ was asking about her, let me look at it. Let me go in here, CJ, and find out. Connections, PTT control. All right. Yeah, if you check the checkbox that says keyboard key, then you'll get a pull-down menu over which keyboard key. And if you uncheck the little keyboard key checkbox, you have spacebar, and that's it. So that's how that works. And from the time you hit OK, it should be pretty much in there for you. Momentary and system-wide, they're either on or off can't really change it. Make sure you don't have any of the other check boxes checked. You don't want the serial port CTS checked, and you don't want the middle mouse button checked. Leave those open, because you mess with those down there, you're not going to get keyboard keys, okay? So when you open the PTT settings under your connections, and you get that little sub-window, the only checkbox checked out of the three there on the left-hand checkboxes should be keyboard key. Not serial port CTS and not middle mouse button, just keyboard key. Or, again, if you just want to use the space bar, uncheck the keyboard key and leave it alone. If you just want to use space bar, that's fine. I just know space bar, for some reason, it's like some kind of bug in the program. It just, I don't know. Maybe because everything went from being being the little, keyboard port to, what did they call that? Not serial, but there was a name to that port. Anyway, I went from that little port to USB, or something got dropped in the PS2. Thank you, Catherine. PS2 port. So, anyway, hopefully you got that to work out for you. Okay. Now, I'm going to pass this over to Catherine, AC4YL, because I know she's probably just itching to tell you all about I didn't pay attention to my timeout. See, my Echolink timed me out. I didn't, I'm certain there's something that I may have missed that she'd like to share with you all, and then of course we'll open it up to the group. So I'm going to turn it over to Catherine, AC4YL, and she can either fill you all in on some stuff I might have missed, or she can open up to the group. But Catherine, AC4YL, AG4YL, Annette, it's all yours.
AG4YL on the net. Well, good evening, everybody. AC4YL here. Excellent job, Melanie. Wonderful, nice breakdown, and just kind of walked everybody through quite a few settings. And just so you ladies know, in case you weren't aware, I did put it in the chat, but I am recording this net. And as part of the net recording, it will have on my screen that you'll see on the video will be Echolink on the left-hand side and the do-drop-in chat on the right-hand side. So as Melanie was going through some things tonight, I actually clicked through the boxes as well. So you will see all of the boxes that Melanie was referring to in the recording that I will upload to YouTube either this evening or sometime tomorrow. So if you gals subscribe to the YL OpNet, and that's YL space op space net YouTube channel, it will actually send you an email to let you know when a new video is uploaded to that channel, so that way you don't miss anything. That way you don't have to remember, oh, I didn't go back and check for it. But if you need the link to the YL OpNet YouTube channel, if you've been on the net from the beginning, it's up at the top in the chat room. You can also go to my QRZ page. So if you go to qrz.com and in the call sign search, just put in AC4YL, pull up my QRZ page. The link to both the YL OpNet Facebook group and the YL OpNet YouTube channel are both there. Keep in mind, you do have to be a YL to be accepted into the YL OpNet Facebook group. As long as you're a YL or a licensed female amateur radio operator, you will be approved to join that. Either Melanie or myself will gladly approve you to join the group, where there's a lot of great comments and things about that. Okay, so just wanted to go over those things. We had several YLs join us this evening, so we'll give you gals a chance to check in just a few moments. Let me pause for reset. Hold on, I see it. Okay, another thing I'll mention real quick too is as I'm transmitting here, this is for the benefit of the recording. In the recording you'll be able to see, Melanie earlier was referring to the TX little button there with the blue bar going across as I'm transmitting. So as you're watching this video in the future, you'll actually see that blue bar moving across the screen and the TX in white letters on a blue box background in the box in Echolink. So you'll see that as well. So great job, Mel, covered a lot, and again we'll give you gals that have not checked in yet a chance to do so in just a moment when we wrap up the net here in about 5 minutes. So just real quick, I know Rhea and Chrissy were on standby for questions on the mobile side. We may have to put the mobile side off till next week, just because we only have about 5 minutes here. So hopefully you gals, Chrissy and Rhea, can be on next week, unless we happen to get a mobile Echolink question right now. So I'd like to give about 3 or 4 minutes for some questions. If you gals have any questions on anything that Melanie covered this evening, or something that she didn't cover that you still have a question on, we'll give you a chance to ask that, and then we'll leave that last minute for final check-ins. So do we have any questions on what we went over this evening on the net, or I should say what Mel covered? Call now. Well, Melanie, it appears you covered it so well that the gals don't have any questions. Wow, that's awesome. Either that, or they're over there clicking in boxes and checking and unchecking and having fun playing with these Echolink settings. So let's circle back to CJ for just a minute, because CJ, I know you were having a little bit of an issue with that. Was that resolved for you, CJ, on the PTT control grade out there?
Yes, I hope you can hear me. I've been having sound problems. When I was on the space bar, it was grayed out, but when I pulled back down and picked something else like left control or right control, then it gave me the option to click on it. So I guess when you're on the space bar, you just don't have that option. So all
All right, CJ, that's awesome. Very good. So glad that worked out for you. Fantastic. All right, so Kathleen, I think, had a question. And CJ, if you have any need any help with your audio settings, it sounds like it may be a mic gain issue for you. You know, feel free to play around with those mic settings under the, let's see if I can get my mouse over here. Tools, and then adjust sound device and the recording. If you open that up, it'll open your Windows settings if you're using a Windows computer for your recording device. So you would pick your microphone that you're using on Echolink, and you could click on it and then click properties. And then there's a levels tab, which you can increase your mic gain there. There's a mic boost option, and then your microphone gain settings are all right there. So you can adjust them a little bit and test them. I would recommend you use the Echolink test server to do that, because you can adjust, test as much as you need to do that. So hopefully that'll help you out, CJ, and then bring your questions back next week if you need any more help with that. So thanks for your question, and glad that worked out. Okay, Kathleen, let's go to you for your question. Please go ahead. KF5IAU AC4YL in the net.
This is a G4YL. I was just monitoring the chat there, and Kathleen can't talk right now, doesn't want to wake up the little one, so I was wondering if Chrissy or Rhea can answer her question. This is Kathleen's question. do the settings, especially security, that you set on your PC carry over to mobile? I don't think so, because I don't think they go with your call sign. I think they stay in a file on your computer. But if Chrissy or Rhea can give us any more, like definitively, I don't think so. I think the answer there would be no. But Chrissy or Rhea, if either one of you is still with us, can you help Kathleen with that one? And Kathleen, what are you using, Android or iOS? Let me get to that first. Can you chat that for us, please? You're using Android or iOS? Android. Okay, so that would be, Chrissy said that she's would be willing to assist any of you ladies with Android Echolink. So Chrissy, if you're still with us, can you enlighten us on, are there any security settings that we might be able to use on Android? Can you help Kathleen with her question, Chrissy? KCA-UFV, AG4YL, and the net. Okay, this is AG4YL. I see Chrissy's still with us, but maybe all this talk about Echolink has caused a few of us to doze off, so I wouldn't blame you all if it did. It's I love this kind of thing, but it could be just the sound of my voice. But I'll try again just in case. Of course. I know a lot of you have lives. So Chrissy, KC8 UFV, if you are listening, we had a question about Echolink, and Kathleen has a great idea. Let's do this in the Facebook group. So, yes, I'm aware. Thank you, Catherine. So I think that's a great idea. That is what the Facebook group is for, and that brings us to swing around here towards the end of this net. I love Catherine's idea of maybe covering, if you ladies are interested, of covering this a little bit more in the net next week. If you all still have some questions, or you care, or you want to, or whatever, I think that's wonderful. Thanks for hanging in there with me this evening, and I hope that some of you found it informative and not too terribly boring. It's amazing how quickly time goes by when we're going through these things and trying to make it easy to understand, and trying to do it with really no face-to-face, visual aid or anything. But I do thank you for hanging in there. Please don't forget, go to the YL OpNet Facebook group. You can search groups on Facebook. It's YL OpNet. Okay, 3 words. It's OpNet. O-P-N-E-T. YL O-P-N-E-T. 3 words. Check out the Facebook group, as Catherine said. Put in a request to join if you're not already a member. Catherine and I will approve it. As long as you're YL, you are in. We'll pause or reset. It's YL. Okay, well, it sounds like all the repeaters that I don't hear any squelch tails, so I think we're done. But I do see G-Mark is still connected with us. Thanks, you all, for hanging in there, and I hope that others listening found this to be useful. Echolink is a great tool, and it can really be a lot of fun, and you can even do just chats amongst yourselves face-to-face. You can have your own little mini conferences with each other. Just enable conferencing and connect to each other direct. You don't need a conference server like Alara to do it. Just connect with each other and allow conferencing and decide on who's going to connect with who or connect up with somebody else, and you all can have your own little discussion, okay? It's totally cool. Email people. Go to QRZ, find out their email, say, hey, you want to connect on Echolink, and have your own little connection on Echolink. Chat, talk back and forth. It's, you know, yeah, we have cell phones, but it's not ham radio, okay? Echolink is indeed ham radio. We'd like to thank Alara for the use of this Echolink conference node, the North Fulton Amateur Radio League for their drop-in chat room, and all linked and listening for your ongoing support of this net. Also, Lauren, KC9ZHV, thanks for all of your help with streaming, recording it, making it available through YouTube. Your help is always very appreciated, and your support of this group. Go to the WildOutNet Facebook group. Let's continue this discussion there if you like. It's your net, and it's your Facebook group net page. This is Melanie, AG4YL, closing the WildOutNet a little bit late and returning the Alara conference node back to normal use. 33 ladies. Hopefully, we'll see you all next week.